I died choking on my own vomit in a Fleabag Motel, off Highway 101. The bottle of cheap bourbon I'd chugged to drown the humiliation still clutched in my spasming fingers. The last thing I saw before the blackness swallowed me was Jordan's face on the news ticker, my assistant, my confidant, beaming from the cover of TechCrunch as the wunderkind who'd revolutionized AI ethics with my algorithm. And now, as my eyes snapped open to the sterile hum of my alarm clock in my old Palo Alto apartment, the date on my phone glaring back, December 2nd, 2018, like a cruel cosmic joke, I knew I'd been given a do-over. A shot at clawing back what that snake stole from me. The betrayal hit me like a freight train all over again. Sharper this time, because I remembered every cut. Jordan Hale, with his boyish grin and Ivy League polish, had been my right hand for 2 years fetching coffee, debugging code late into the night, whispering encouragements when the VCs laughed me out of the room. I'd built Aria tech from my garage, pouring my soul into an AI that could detect deepfakes in real time. A game changer for elections, journalism, the whole rotting mess of disinformation in Trump's America. It was my baby, born from watching my immigrant mom get deported over a forged document when I was 12. And Jordan? He'd sworn he'd die before letting anyone touch it. But he didn't just touch it. He gutted me. A week before the big pitch to Sequoia Capital, he'd slipped a clause into the NDA I'd signed in my sleep-deprived haze, something about intellectual contributions, and filed a provisional patent under his name, backdated to cover his ass. During the demo, as I unveiled the prototype to a room full of gray-suited sharks, his leaked email chain hit their inboxes, timestamps proving he owned the core tech that I'd been fronting as the visionary while he did the real work. The judges' faces shifted from intrigue to pity, then disgust. Plagiarism in the valley? One muttered, loud enough for the mic to catch it. I was blackballed overnight. Investors ghosted. Partners sued for breach. My name synonymous with fraud. 6 months later, alone and bankrupt, I'd checked into that motel with a fifth of Jack and a single bullet of regret. Waking up now, heart pounding like I'd sprinted from the grave, I bolted upright in my queen-sized bed, the sheets tangled around me like restraints. The apartment smelled of fresh paint and takeout lo mein my apartment, pre-betrayal, with its exposed brick walls and the prototype server humming innocently in the corner. My hands, younger, unscarred by the stress lines that would come, trembled as I grabbed my phone. No missed calls from lawyers. No foreclosure notices. Just a text from Jordan. Morning. Boss. Coffee run? Pitch prep starts at 10. Boss. The word twisted in my gut like a knife. I could picture him already, lounging in the kitchenette downstairs, scrolling LinkedIn for his escape hatch. In my first life, I'd trusted him implicitly, hired him fresh out of Stanford, dazzled by his demo of a neural net that mimicked human empathy. He'd been so eager, so devoted. But hindsight was a bitch. The late-night work sessions where he'd probe for details on the algorithm's black box decisions. The way he'd vanish for family emergencies right when I needed him most. Now, I saw it clear as code. He'd been mining me from day one, building a shadow empire on my sweat. I didn't respond to the text. Instead, I swung my legs over the bed, bare feet hitting the cool hardwood, and padded to the mirror. There I was, Aria Voss, 28, with my dark curls wild from sleep, hazel eyes sharp and alive, not the hollow shell I'd become. This time, I whispered to my reflection, voice raw, you don't get to win. Revenge wasn't a plan yet, it was a pulse, hot and insistent, drowning out the fear. But how do you dismantle someone who's woven himself into your life's fabric without unraveling everything? Jordan wasn't just an employee. He was the face I put on investor calls. The one who charmed the reporters. Exposing him too soon would scream desperation. Paint me as the paranoid founder torching her own bridge. By 9:45, I'd showered and thrown on my pitch armor, black blazer, white silk blouse, jeans that said approachable innovator without begging for approval. The drive to the co-working space in Mountain View was a blur of red taillights and podcasts on AI ethics, irony thick enough to choke on. Jordan was waiting outside, 2 lattes in hand, his blonde hair artfully tousled, that disarming smile plastered on. "You look like you saw a ghost," he said, handing me the cup, oat milk, 2 pumps vanilla. Just how I liked it. In my past life, I'd laughed it off.
Now,
I forced a grin, sipping to hide the bile rising in my throat. Rough night. Dreams about the pitch bombing. He chuckled, falling into step beside me.
nah.
This baby's gold. Your deepfake detector? It's gonna save democracy.
Arya.
Hell. Maybe even get us on 60 Minutes. His enthusiasm was pitch perfect. But I caught the flicker, eyes darting to my laptop bag. Like he was already calculating the heist. We settled into the conference room, a glass-walled fishbowl overlooking the parking lot, and dove into slides. As he rattled off market projections, I watched him like a hawk, the way his fingers lingered on the keyboard, the subtle save gestures that screamed back up to cloud. In my first run, I'd been too buried in the code to notice. Not this time. That afternoon, after he left for a meeting, I hacked his access logs. Nothing fancy. Just a quick script I'd written in the motel haze of my final days. Exploiting the shared admin panel I'd never bothered to lock down. There was nightly exports of our repo to a personal drive, timestamps lining up with his emergencies. But it was the last file that stopped my heart, a draft patent application, dated November 15th, 2018, claiming the algorithm's novelty as his own invention. He'd even woven in a bullshit backstory, inspired by his grandmother's World War II code-breaking tales. Liar. My mom had shared hers over pho in our cramped Queen's kitchen, and I'd coded the first lines on her deathbed. Rage boiled up, but I tamped it down. Raw fury would get me sued for defamation, my career DOA before takeoff.
No.
Revenge needed finesse, layers, like the neural nets we built. Step 1. Fortify. I revoked his repo access remotely, citing a security audit, and mirrored the entire codebase to an encrypted offshore server. His text lit up my phone. "Everything okay? Can't pull the latest branch." I replied coolly, "Routine stuff. We'll sync tomorrow." Step 2. Probe. Over the next few days, I fed him half-truths, tweaked the pitch to emphasize my contributions, buried his name in fine print, and watched him squirm. At a team dinner in San Francisco's Mission District, amid tacos and craft IPAs, he pressed, "You seem
distant."
Everything good with the Sequoia folks. I met his gaze over my margarita, the salt rim biting like truth. Crystal clear. Jordan. Just tying up loose ends. By week's end, the tension was a live wire. I'd started digging deeper, LinkedIn stalking his connections, cross-referencing with public records. Turns out, Jordan wasn't the golden boy he seemed. A sealed juvie record from his Seattle suburb days. Whispers of a hazing scandal at Stanford that got him a slap on the wrist. And then, the kicker, an email chain from 6 months back. Buried in his forwarded spam folder, I'd fished his credentials with a fake, urgent investor update. It was to a VC buddy at Kleiner Perkins. Area's onto something huge. But she's volatile. Once I have the IP locked, we cut her out, 50-50th split? Volatile. The word stung, echoing the gaslighting I'd endured post-betrayal. When therapists chalked my breakdown to imposter syndrome. But there was more, a hidden thread, a secret festering like bad code. The emails referenced the incident, something from Jordan's past I'd unwittingly triggered. Late one night, fueled by black coffee and spite, I firewalled through dark web forums and paid a sketchy PI $500 in crypto for the file, a police report from 2016. Jordan's sister, Lila, had OD'd on fentanyl-laced pills during her freshman year at Berkeley. The dealer? A low-level coder I'd mentored in a Women in Tech program, someone I'd vouched for when the scandal broke. Arya Voss, unwitting enabler of tragedy. Jordan's betrayal wasn't just ambition, it was vengeance. A slow poison brewed from grief. He'd targeted me because I'd destroyed his family, even if I hadn't known the threads connected. The revelation cracked something in me, not guilt. Exactly. But a jagged clarity. In my first life, I'd never uncovered this, too busy spiraling to connect the dots.
Now.
It fueled the fire. He wasn't a monster. He was a mirror, reflecting the collateral damage of my relentless climb. But sympathy? That was a luxury for the living. I was reborn for blood, metaphorical. Sure. But it'd taste just as sweet. As the pitch loomed, I made my controversial call. Escalation. No clean whistleblowing. That'd reek of sour grapes. Instead, I reached out to Elena Ruiz, a journalist at The Information who'd crucified me in my past life for ethical lapses in the leaked story. Controversial because Elena was a lightning rod, accused of doxing sources. Sued twice for libel, but she hated VC bros more than she loved clicks. Over encrypted signal, I dangled the patent draft, not a leak. A gift. But you run it post-pitch, when it hits hardest. Her response, what's the angle? You framing him? I typed back. Fingers flying, truth with teeth. He stole my life's work to avenge his sister's death, blames me for her OD. Prove it. And you're Pulitzer bound. Silence. Then, send the docs. This could torch the valley. The days blurred into a fever dream of prep and paranoia. Jordan grew twitchy. His smiles brittle, probing me with questions about contingency plans if the deal soured. I played along, even let him lead a dry run. His voice steady as he demoed the AI, my AI. Each word was a fresh wound, but I endured, plotting the kill shot. On pitch eve, I slipped a tracker into his phone case during a hug, goodbye embrace. I called it, and watched from my laptop as he met a shadowy figure in a dim Oakland bar. Audio crackled through. It's locked. Post-pitch. The email dump goes live. Voss takes the fall. His contact? The Kleiner Perkins guy. Sealing their pact. Morning of December 10th.
2018.
Dawned crisp and merciless. The Bay Area fog clinging like doubt. The Sequoia offices in Menlo Park gleamed like a fortress of glass and ambition, potted ferns softening the edges of power. Jordan and I rode up in the elevator, his knee bouncing, my pulse a war drum. Nervous? He asked, that grin flashing like a warning light.
Excited? I lied.
Squeezing his arm, sisterly, reassuring. The boardroom was a pressure cooker, 8 partners in tailored suits. Notepads at the ready. The lead VC, Harlan Graves. A silver fox with a reputation for gutting dreamers. We launched in Slides on Disinformation's Toll, Cambridge Analytica's scars still fresh, then the demo. The AI hummed to life on the projector, dissecting a viral fake video of Obama in seconds. Crowd erupting in murmurs of awe. Jordan took the reins for Q&A, smooth as silk, fielding barbs about scalability. I sat back, the USB in my pocket burning a hole. My ace. A tampered version of the leak chain. Timestamps flipped to implicate him as the forger. Controversial? Hell yes, digital forgery was a felony. Gray area vigilantism that could land me in federal crosshairs. But in a world where truth was the first casualty, what was one more lie to expose the real one? As Harlan leaned in, impressive tech. But ownership? We've heard whispers. Jordan's phone buzzed. He glanced down, face draining of color. My tracker had done its job. Elena's embargo lifted early. A ping from the information's alert feed. The room went still as laptops chimed. Harlan's eyes narrowed, scrolling. Mr.
Hale.
Care to explain this patent filing? Dated last month. Under your name? Jordan stammered, sweat beading.
It's
a misunderstanding. Collaborative work, but I cut in. Voice steal. Collaborative? Like how you emailed your VC buddy about cutting me out to avenge your sister. The one whose death you pinned on me. Gasps rippled. I slotted the USB into the projector, his emails, the police report, the bar audio playing tinny but damning. Voss takes the fall. Chaos erupted. Harlan slammed his folder. This is fraud. Jordan lunged for the cord. But security was already buzzing. He whirled on me, eyes wild. You bitch, you dug up Lila? She died because of your people. The room froze. The human cost laid bare. I held his gaze, unflinching. I didn't know. But you did, knew and used it to gut me anyway. Grief's no excuse for theft. He lunged, fists clenched, but hands pulled him back. As they dragged him out, sirens wailing distant, something twisted in his face, not rage, but raw, shattering loss. You think this fixes it? You're as broken as I am. The fallout was biblical. Sequoia wired a term sheet by noon, $15 MC'd. My name's sole founder. Elena's piece dropped at 2 p.m. Silicon Valley's revenge plot. Assistant's dark secret sabotages AI darling. Twitter, X before it was X, exploded. Ari revenge trending. Feminists hailing me as a queen. Bros decrying witch hunt. But the twist came at midnight. As I stared at my ceiling fan, champagne uncorked but untouched. My phone lit up, not victory calls, but an encrypted drop from an anonymous source, Jordan's final gift. A video file labeled truth.mp4. I hit play, breath catching. It was me, 3 years prior, at a Berkeley networking event, testifying for that dealer I'd mentored, arguing second chances for coders from the margins. But the footage cut deeper, post-event, in a shadowed alley. Me laughing with the guy as he handed over a baggie. For the nerves. Aria. You look stressed. I'd waved it off. Pocketed it. Never used it. But the chain was forged, my vouch. My casual acceptance. The pills that killed Lila traced back through that network. Jordan's voiceover. Recorded pre-arrest. You didn't pull the trigger? Aria. But you loaded the gun. This is justice. The room spun. My revenge flawless. Pyrrhic had unearthed a monster in the mirror. I'd reclaimed my empire. But at what cost? The checks cleared. The headlines faded. Aria Tech soared into unicorn status by 2020. My face on Forbes 30 under 30. Yet every demo, every board meeting, Jordan's eyes haunted me, not the thieves, but the brothers. I hired therapists, donated millions to addiction reform, even visited him in San Quentin during his fraud trial, separated by plexiglass. Why? He rasped. I pressed my palm to the barrier. Because loose ends unravel everything. In the end, it wasn't happily ever after, nor pure tragedy, just the messy American dream, triumph stained with the blood of unintended sins. I lived, rebuilt, but the rebirth's gift was double-edged. Second chances demand first confessions. And in the valley's endless grind, that's the real deepfake, believing you can code your way out of the human wreckage.